I On my watch list I had Symphony of the Night, and it had like a minute left to go with like zero bids, and I was just like, oh, when there's like 20 seconds left, I'll just snipe. No big deal. So I put in my bid, and I just get a notification on my phone. It's just like, oh, you lost, you missed out. It had like $20 more than my max bid with like 15 bids. I was like, who? Like, how many other people had this idea? Like with 20 seconds to go, like fuck. What the hell is up, guys? This is Herman with Herman's Review Gaming. So today's topic is more of like a quote-unquote like curated topic. I want to address something, and I kind of touched on it in another video that I have talking about what consoles should you collect for right now. So definitely check that video out. But it's in response to RGT 85's video talking about how like are YouTubers ruining the retro community, if you want to put it like that. So first things first, dude, like, it's just timing. That's just, think about it like this. All the 80s and 90s kids are now the ones entering the market within the past, yeah, let's say 10 years. They're the ones entering the market. They're the ones saying, I want to buy a NES, a Super Nintendo, and, well, starting to climb up in price now, the PS1. That generation is entering the market now. And more demand obviously means that the prices are going to go up for those things. I just think it's a weird coincidence. It's not really like when AVGN did a video about something, it raises awareness of that particular game, and maybe people want to play through it too, or maybe like collect it, and then that person now enters the market, creating that demand, which then raises the price. But for the most part, that's not what the case is. It's just that generation is now entering the market. I mean, quick proof of that is just like, look at PS2 and sort of Dreamcast. Look at that generation up until, like, let's say last gen. Like, now is the time where you can get, like, essentially my point being is where we're at today with PS2 to now is where NES to PS1 was in 2000 and, like, let's say 3, you know, for all intents and purposes. Like buying a cartridge game for $5 back then in that, like in the 2000s, is like the equivalent of like now being able to buy Uncharted or Infamous for like $3, you know, or like God of War, Devil May Cry for $5, or GTA 3, I don't know. But like, and I know some of you guys might be like, oh, I don't really care about that like generation. It's like, how old are you? Let's take that into account. If you're like late 20s, 30s, of course you don't. That's not your generation. I grew up from 2002 when I moved here. My cousins got a PS2. I remember playing like Kingdom Hearts 1. My cousin was always already into like Gran Turismo and like, you know, all that. Like coming all the way forward to today, like I'm 22 now and the PS4 is what's mainstream, and the Xbox One. It's like, and the Switch now, the Switch A. Like that's where I grew up in, and that's where the games make sense to me. Like GBA, DS, 3DS, Wii, PS3, 360. That was like my teen era. Like where you were, you meaning like the people who are complaining that the prices are skyrocketing. They're probably in their late 20s, 30s, maybe even like late 30s, and they're the ones who are trying to buy NES and SNES and, you know, PS1, 64, Genesis, you know, Saturn, whatever. They don't care about our new gen, but like I'm talking to those people right now. It's just like where you were in the 90s, like you're a teen and you're like, you know, Dreamcast, PS1, like that's my PS3, 360, Wii. Like I was in 7th grade, I believe, 8th grade when like they launched. The 360, I think 6th grade. But essentially like the 360 PS3 had like a fanboy console war type shit going on, and I lived through that. So like it's just nostalgic. Like I'm gonna collect the shit out of that generation. Same with PS2 to now. Like you already know, but like that was my teen era, and then my childhood era was like PS2, Xbox, GameCube, GBA, DS, original, PSP. That was like my childhood era, and it's just like the next wave. Like I don't know where gaming as an industry is going to go forward, but like the next generation's gonna have their own thing, and like what's gonna happen at that point is all of my generation is gonna be like, oh fuck, like I want to buy a PS2. Like, I remember playing through Kingdom Hearts, GTA, you know, San Andreas. Like, screw it, and they buy one. And like across the generation, people do that. Same with the Xbox and the GameCube. Like, whatever their thing was, it's gonna happen. Like, that's what's happening with like all these guys. Like, I literally, whenever I go into my retro shop, like I'll be fucking talking with like the employees. I like, quote unquote, like made friends with them at this point, and it's just like there's always the one guy who comes in and is just like, yeah, let me get a Super Nintendo and that copy of, you know, Street Fighter 2 or something, or let me get that NES and like that Legend of Zelda gold cart. Done. And that's it. They all just want the game that they have in mind, like from back then or something. The console needed to play it, and they walk out. And like, that's what's gonna happen with, like, they'll be like, yeah, let me get an Xbox and Knights of the Old Republic, or let me get an Xbox and Fable, or Halo 2, and a GameCube with, you know, Super Mario Sunshine, or whatever. You know, it doesn't, like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And an argument that I mentioned in another video of mine before, I'll readdress it. You know, people might say like, oh, but you know, Kingdom Hearts, God of War, uh, Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Solid, these series have all gotten Shadow, Eco, they have all gotten HD collection versions. So like the PS2 versions are going to remain useless. I understand the logic. I genuinely do. I genuinely understand the logic, and you might be right to an extent, because if somebody's like, yeah, I want to play through Shadow of the Colossus, but with trophies, you know, that might hook them onto that. But here's the reality. Are people buying the Game Boy Advance versions of Metroid or the OG Legend of Zelda? People still ask for the gold cart Zelda for the NES and Metroid and so forth. Another thing, even like Earthbound is $200. Let's just say 200. You can buy that on the Virtual Console, and now upcoming on the SNES Classic. And I'm sure that they're gonna, like, if the Switch's subscription, if it'll have it, like, why don't you just get that one? Like, it's the same, right? Why are people still asking for the SNES version? It's like something about humans, like humanity. It's just like, it's not the same. Like, we know it. It's why, you know, people like to buy hardware versus emulating today still. But anyway, I just want a little spiel on that. I probably missed a couple good points potentially, but you know, I just need to get that off my chest. It's not, essentially, the point being, it isn't YouTubers. Like, it's just a coinciding of the timing. Like, yeah, AVGN made a series about like the NES. You know, at least that's how it started. That doesn't mean that that's why the market's spiking in that for that generation. Because retro gaming as a whole is not spiking. It's just these specific generations are spiking. And you need to be able to spot what's viable to buy now, so that when that thing spikes in the future, you're set. Like, think about all the people who got Earthbound for like $20. They're not complaining now, are they? Be that for this generation. Anyway, that was my whole thing. Whatever. If you like this video, give that shit a thumbs up. You already know what the spiel is. Hated it? Boom, boom, boom. Just bash that dislike button. If you disagree or agree, just fucking like blow up that comment section. Like, I literally want to know what people think. Like, do I make any sense right now? Like, whatever. Keep that conversation flowing in the comments. I will respond to every single comment. At least like it. At least like acknowledge its existence. I hope RGT sees this. I'm new to your channel. I've not subscribed for a while, and I saw you at My Life in Gaming's panel. You were just low key in the back asking questions. Like, that was awesome. And I was like, oh shit, that's it. And then I went to your channel, and you know, that's cool. So I just want to give a quick shout out to him. Anyway, guys, subscribe and shit. Hey, I apologize, guys. One last quick announcement. If I'm not mistaken, all cards played right. This could be the last grainy ass webcam ass 720p ass video I make, potentially, because like I said in my last video, I'm just gonna start using a DSLR, and my school has Adobe Creative Cloud on it, so I can like start using Premiere and Photoshop and Illustrator to make really nice thumbnails and just slides and just have a more intricate video system, if you will. So be on the lookout for that. You're gonna see a distinction in the quality, I believe, from here going on forward. Just wanted to point that out real fast.